Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading room. Just a moment here. We'll get the screen share happening. All right, so the market really didn't wander too far yesterday. Kind of spent most of the time within the bigger trading range as we expected. And then by the close, the Asian session, European session, there was a little bit of a rally up. Market came back down pretty much to where they left off on Wednesday. Here's actually our first in-sync eagle signal right here, this green bar sell off of the hard edge. After a quick little rally up, had a couple early signals here. First micro macro cross lower, another macro pullback, possible late filter entry here on the Falcon. We don't have it yet, it's just kind of in the middle of making the signal. And here on the Raptor, we have the hard edge bounce, that number 3 signal, right out of the open. Yesterday, of course, we just saw a monster rally right out of the gate. Oh, there's a reversal signal. There's your number 2 signal. And it looks now as though we're going to see a little bit of a retrace. Hey, way to go, Keith. Keith killing it pre-market here. $1,505 pre-market. I'm just here to learn from the guru. Well, that's nice. That's a good start to the day, Keith. Well done. Yeah, and we're back here at 6,300. You can see Mark makes a comment, as Yoda would say, significant level at that 6,300 is, and definitely you can see even the primary support line coming in at 6,300 and a quarter, and we're kind of waffling around that line right now. All right, let's see if we get something resembling a trend going on. Nicely done, Mark. Mark says just grabbed $500 on that Falcon trend change signal right here. This is what we would usually classify as an early trend change signal because it's just changing with the trend line, but the structure is there. And by that I mean this little higher swing, right? That characteristic test of the extreme, and then the push higher. This late filter entry was spoiled by 1 bar. The trend line went out of sync here for 1 bar. Sometimes I will ignore that. Now, you're going to have to judge it for yourself. You can see here was a 1-bar late filter entry. It was out of sync for 1 bar as well. What happens is the bar trades just a tick too high, or in this case, a tick too low, to spoil the trend line. But very often when it's out of sync for just that 1 bar, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. These, however, where you're out of sync for, 5, 6, 8 bars, that no longer qualifies for a late filter entry. Mark writes, sometimes I do that too. It comes with the experience of having watched it for a long time and knowing how it reacts, and that's absolutely correct. It's a skill like any other, really, and there's no substitute for screen time and actually becoming familiar with your tools. All right, cloud crossover signal here on the Raptor now, and it's giving us an opportunity for a second push on the entry. So all we've done is we've allowed the signal to engage. We see where the current limit of the signal is. And now we'll engage the signal, but only if it brings us in on some renewed momentum here. Stop placement is a little tricky. Ideally, the stop should go below the low of the morning, at least to start. But unfortunately, that's going to be a little bit out of reach for me. They're slowing a little bit. What's going on here? All right. Did they slip me? Nope, didn't slip me. Come on. Well, they're thinking about it. Slowing here a little bit as the buyers and sellers trying to sort things out. Ooh, there's a bigger reversal than what I was looking for. What happened to all that early buying? Let me try. Scott says, no matter how many times I mouse over your chart to adjust it, Eric, I just can't seem to move it. Okay, here, let's try to help the market up here. Come on, get going higher. Oh, uh-oh, it's going the wrong way. Now, you know, this is extremely rare that the market will reverse like this and not even give me one chance to adjust my stop, but that's why we try to limit our risk exposure at the outset. We were taking far too long on the follow through. That was kind of the hint that things are having a little bit of difficulty. Gonna get spanked here in a second, so brace yourselves. Well, there's a little bit of a rally to start, not much, of course. This is actually working into an early trend change signal. There we go. There's a number one signal, the cloud crossover to the short side now, which just kind of reinforces what we've been seeing, that the market is actually looking to reverse and head lower. All right, last chance for the buyers, but I don't think they're going to pull it out. The Hawk already full on bearish, and the Falcon also. Julian says there's no big buyers on either side of the market right now. Snooze fest, and it may well actually translate into more of a sideways kind of day again. Goodness knows we're familiar with those. While we're waiting for me to get stopped out, a reminder, no trading room next week. I'm out of town next week. Yeah, Scott, for the week of the 11th. So next Monday through Friday, if I get back early, we'll tee up the trading room again. But the week of December 11, no trading room. No, no, not that lucky. Scott says, wow, have a good time. Cabo? Nope. Nope. Thetis Island. I got persuaded to help a friend. They're building a house on Thetis Island. And of course, with Christmas just a few weeks away, they're in a bit of a pinch. Yeah, Cabo would be nice. Mexico is nice in early December. Actually, we're having a pretty nice winter so far here on the West Coast. Very nice and mild so far. All right, the hawk actually flipping over now a little bit, trying to get, well, it did give us the first micro-macro cross higher, coming back with a macro pullback slash for arrow consolidation. I don't know. We got a trend change signal here on the Falcon and now a possible late filter entry as well. We're really getting kind of a mixed bag of signals here. I could adjust my stops a little. You know, I could certainly bring them up here, but the market is making a lower swing high, which would suggest it's going to run my stop. We have made a higher swing low, so there is an outside chance that we may get up here and try to retest the highs. It's slim, but there is a chance. You can see where we're trading right now, right in the middle of this morning's range. Right in the middle of this morning's range, and that's making things a little bit less predictable, shall we say. Come on. If we can get above 63.10, then I feel a little bit more confident about rolling my stop up at least a little bit. Come on. There we go. Here, we'll give it another nudge. Get up there. All right, I'll probably roll here below the primary resistance line. At least take a couple of dollars out of the trade. Come on. Look at that, 63.10 being really quite stubborn. So we know there's a lot of selling going on at 63.10. If we get above there, we're going to start grabbing a few of their exit orders. All right. Don't stop now. Just experimenting with a different stop strategy here right now, looking to see where the ATR would have me. So some resistance now as we're getting closer toward the high of the day. Now getting another reversal signal here. Lots of indecision. giving the trade every opportunity to come around. The hawk here really showing the state of the market right now. Lots of yellow bars. Whenever your hawk chart looks like this, it's pretty obvious that you're stuck in a sideways market. The eagle also beginning to consolidate here a little bit. So still hoping for some bullish follow through here. But I'm pressing my luck to be sure. If this is going to turn into a sideways trading range, you know, this is where the sellers are, up here. Buyers down here. We're just retesting this trend line too often. It's gonna break. The best stop, still the initial stop below the low. I have a bad feeling though, if they tag me here, they're also going to tag me here, so I may as well take a couple of dollars out of the equation and maybe even get ready to reverse. Don't have a clear-cut signal just yet. But it is looking very likely that I'm going to get tagged. Good morning, Raleigh. Hey, way to go, Julian. Julian says, I'm only 680 in profit for today and out. See you tomorrow. You bet, Julian. I will be here. Anybody who can pull any money out of a market like today is doing well. It's just too indecisive right now. Yeah, Mark is right. Where did all our momentum go? It's at the mall. I can't believe how central this trading range is. So if we go here, we'll just go high to low. Look at that, we're right on the 50% level. Right, literally right in the middle. Now we're trying to swing lower, which is not good for me. No. Gonna get spanked here in just a second. Brace yourselves. Well, that is unfortunate, but I would call that a good loss. I did everything right. The trade just didn't work out. And that's what happens sometimes. You have to resign yourself to that. The fact the market is reluctant to go up, however, opens up the possibility of a short. And so now we have a short opportunity. Stops need to go back a little bit. This is now the cloud crossover going the other way. And we'll see whether the sellers can now take control of the market. And if not, well, then you need to resign yourself that you're in a sideways trading day, and you're either going to need to adjust your trading, and by that I mean maybe look at taking scalps, or looking for buying opportunities off of the lows, selling opportunities off of the highs, or you just go do something else. That is always an option, you know. Yeah, see now, this is really smacking of a trading range. When you get the buying near the lows, the selling near the highs. All right, well, we'll just throw that on the shelf there for now. And as well as the lack of follow-through on signals also. That's a telltale sign. All right, so you Raptor traders, we're going to get a hard edge bounce here if the market can continue lower at this point. And that might be a big if. Wow, look at how they stalled there. That's crazy. Again, just kind of showing all that lack of momentum. All right. getting back below this 62.95 zone, which would be the lows. Very important. All right, so here now coming the hard edge bounce. And there it is, the number 3 signal. Come on, don't swing higher again. There we go. They at least have to try to get back here toward the lows of the morning. And come on, take out the low, and then I can start to adjust my stops a little bit. There we go. Almost to the break even. I'm going to bring my stops in above that swing high right there. So I'm with the swing high low strategy here. And just about to hit the break even. Oh, come on. All right, let's take the trade to break even and keep our fingers crossed. Oh, scoundrels. All right, that may have been a touch aggressive after all that. Okay, got a first micro macro cross, got another follow-up signal here on the Raptor. If you ever wonder what these extra signals are for, you can treat them as a follow-up signal. So if you get stopped out, as I did, the Raptor is saying, hey, Eric, we got our signal parameters met. If you want back in, come on in, the water's fine. So I'll just ready myself here on the sell button. Where is the low of the morning? Oh, right there, nice and handy. Okay, so now that's the hard edge sell signal, which originated from this bounce back here. Well, that was a little unfortunate because I would have hit my profit objective, but I got a little bit too quick. All right, off of the lows of the morning. This may try to turn into a double bottom, but I'm hoping not. Hoping that we're going to see the market try to head a little bit lower here. Wow. The market just totally uncooperative here today. I'm going to get tagged on this side too now. Yeah, no love from the market this morning. No, we're just waffling back and forth right now. And again, that's totally characteristic of a sideways trading range. When your buy signals don't work and your sell signals don't work, then that's a good indication that the market is stuck in a sideways range. We're probably looking at a bounce here now. If the market trades above this, what are we, 63.5? 63.03 quarter. If it gets above there, it's definitely going to trade higher. And if we get back below these lows, well, then we're in good shape because we should see the market continue to the short side. But we are in, you couldn't even bracket this range. This market really now at a decision point where if it gets above here, we're going to rally. If it gets below here, we're going to head lower. You could use your OCO order for that, and you could bracket this trade. You could trade a breakout higher or lower. Yeah, Peter says looks like a range-bound day may just trade off of the hawk, which of course the hawk scalper is going to give you a little bit faster signal. And given the profit objective on the hawk scalper, it's going to be a little bit easier to reach as well. So you're getting like first micro macro cross, took a little bit of heat on it, but it did come down. Here's another first micro macro cross, just hit its profit objective and reversed. Here's a red bar buy, now a first micro macro cross higher. So yeah, even the hawk is a bit of a jumbled mess here this morning. I think Mark's got the right idea. Mark says the only reason I took that first trade I did was I anticipated the market going back up to test the extreme, but ever since then, there hasn't been anything clear cut on where the direction is heading. I might just take my $500 and be done. Not a bad plan. It does look, you know, I think the market's going to unwind a little bit in the afternoon. Right now, they're totally uncommitted, however. I think we're going to see a little bit of a rally from here. I really do. It's the higher lows, right? Anytime you start making higher lows, we're back up here to these highs. That tends to result in a bullish push. Yep, and there you go. So, it's a sideways trading range for you. And that's what happens in sideways ranges, where the market will bounce off of the bottom, bounce off of the lows, bounce off of the highs. So until we get outside of this range, it's really just going to be a slugfest. You can take your chances. Just be aware that you know, the market's going to be a little bit uncooperative. Yep, see you, Mark. Mark says, I'm done. Have a good day. You too. Yeah, Scott's asking me about my project next week. Yes, building a house on Thetis Island, which is a pretty remote little island. I don't know how I get talked into some of these things. Scott says, sounds beautiful. It is. It's pretty. It's not far off Vancouver Island. Um, Far enough you need to take a ferry to get to. Of course, there's no bridge or anything like that. And it's not a lot of inhabitants on Thetis Island. So there's not much to do. But I suppose that's why they want to be there. It's pretty remote. All right, are we going to get another bullish push here toward the top end of the trading range now? The clouds are starting to cross. Yes, if you're very bored, you can Google Thetis Island. They have a marina, which means there'll be a pub. That's the good news, I suppose. All right. Well, this would have been, I suppose, the early #1 signal. The cloud's not fully crossed at this point, but you have the structure of the trade, namely the market goes up, comes back into the clouds push it back out, but we're struggling here. No real follow through. Scott says, guys will do a lot for beer and pizza. Isn't that the international currency? Forget Bitcoin. What? Case of beer? I'm in. Oh dear. No follow through here one way or the other. It's really kind of a tough day right now. And I have a feeling, well, we're back here just above 6,300. See the highs of the morning hovering nearby. This is the hard part of trading, the waiting. This is the part nobody's good at. All right, well, let's see what they do now as they test the highs or get near testing the highs. This is probably going to print the number one signal here on the Raptor. We've got the warning dots. We're too close to the highs. I've already got bit a couple of times there. There's probably going to be a breakout. Yeah, William asks, what's the education topic for today? Trading ranges. When you suspect you are in a sideways trading range, your best course of action is to wait. Wait until you get outside of the trading range. So here's our trading range. We know buying occurs at the bottom quarter, bottom third. Selling occurs toward the top. And kind of that middle third is no man's land. So, you know, when you're selling down here, it's not going to work. When you're buying up here, it's not going to work. So what should you do? Well, the best course of action is to allow the market to break out, retest, and then prove to you that it can stay out. And somewhere through there, it should produce a signal. Same thing to the short side. Break out, retest, and then show you that it can stay out, give you that signal to buy or sell. Now, admittedly, it's a difficult thing to do, especially, you know, if you're hosting a trading room and everybody expects you to be doing something, which is fair, but market conditions don't always allow for it. But when you see these kinds of things happen, you will get the breakout, you will get the retest. If you have the patience to wait for it, you will be on the right side of the trading equation. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a bullish break now. That's not much of a break, by the way. I would consider this kind of break the same as the high, as the top end of the trading range. Okay, now we're getting a bit of a breakout. Now, very often, these retests may be a little bit drawn out. Let me find you an example. All right, let's use this area here as a trading range. That's sort of like a great big range, right? So we'll just highlight the top and the bottom. Okay, there was a pretty quick retest, or a breakout and retest. And notice how deep the market is coming back inside the trading range. That tells you that the breakout probably did not stick. See, and you spend a lot of time going sideways. And this would have been a very, very difficult trade to hang in on just because of the ranges involved. Okay, here's another breakout, another attempt to get outside of this trading range. Oh, look, there's a retest. And now we get the buying opportunity. So this would be a buy that you may want to try to put some money on. This would be your breakout and your retest, and the market showing you that, hey, yeah, we're going to give this a go. We're going to try to rally the market from here. So let's see how our current breakout is coming along. All right, well, we've definitely broken out. Now, like I said, sometimes these breakouts will be immediate. You'll get the retest. Sometimes the retest can be really drawn out. Sometimes you'll see the part that scares everybody or entices everybody to try a breakout trade is that sometimes on the breakout, the market will just make a huge move. You know, it'll rally up 20, 30 points, and everybody says, oh, why didn't I trade the breakout? I knew I should have. Well, if you look back in your chart, you'll probably see the market retrace, if pretty close to all of that breakout, and give you another chance to get in before the really big rally starts. So as tempting as it is to try to take advantage of those breakout moves, your best course of action is just to let the market unfold and be ready when it tells you, yeah, okay, now's the time to buy. A little bit of patience goes a very long way in trading. And yet it's probably the most difficult thing for any trader to learn. Not just new traders, any trader. Because let's face it, we all want to get busy making money, right? Who has time to wait? Great comment here from Keith. Keith asks, does Indicator Warehouse ever have team conferences where all traders can come together and hear the pro traders like yourself talk? No, not yet. But if that's something you would like, definitely shoot an email to Adam. He can make those kinds of arrangements. Early on, we tossed around the idea of getting together in Las Vegas for a weekend or something. but nothing ever came of it. I think it mostly stems from what DTS owners are asking for, really. I know it sounds a little bit corny, but that is the truth. Oh, while we were chatting, we finally got that #1 signal, and it developed right at the high of the morning. Would have been a tough little trade to take, but it looks like we did get some follow through on that. And it looks like they've settled in on a direction now. I think we can safely call this a bull market after an hour of nothing. All right, so we may be waiting here for a little while to get that retest now, the top end of the trading range, which was somewhere around 63.15, 16, somewhere in there. Essentially, it's going to develop into a hard edge bounce. Funny thing is, as the market gets a little bit more bullish like this, it's actually going to open up the opportunity for a counter trend trade back to the hard edge. I don't know if we're going to see that this morning or not. Now that the market's kind of gone straight up. All right, so here's the beginning of a counter trend move where we've got the market coming down. Now we're going to retest, and then that's going to open up the opportunity for a short. Okay, well, that's looking like a decent retest. Let's see what the other tools are doing here. The Hawk, okay, not into yellow bars yet. Oh, the Falcon actually producing a late filter entry signal here, which is suggestive of a bigger rally to follow. Remember, counter trend trades always difficult. Not something you want to really get in the habit of doing. You're always better off waiting for your with trend opportunities, which you have right here in the Falcon. You've got a late filter entry signal, and you can combine that with a second push entry. You could even enter it just above the high. Stop placement a little bit more difficult, but I would probably default here to the median line on the ultimate support and resistance suite. And things have dried up here. What's going on? And everything's stalled again. Well, funny kind of day today. At times like this, I appreciate the Geiger counter because I keep thinking my data feed may have dropped, but I just take a look here at the Geiger counter, make sure I've still got data coming in. Ooh, they filled me to the long side and slipped me at the same time. Let's see if I can't get that extra tick back. I don't like a market that takes so long. You know, it's like they sat up there for the longest time before deciding, yeah, okay, let's fill the order. That very often leads to a reversal. You like to see at least something resembling momentum. The only good thing right now, of course, is that the market is in an obvious uptrend, but whether or not my stops will be far enough away, the ideal stop placement would be way back down here. That would be your initial stop. All right, so while that's going on, kind of looking here for a possible number 2 signal to develop on the Raptor. As I mentioned, when the band gets really, really broad like this, very often you'll see a little bit of a pullback. Buying off of the hard edge is going to be a lot better than trying to buy on a breakout above the high. And I don't know, I need to take a look here. See if there's any reports or something due out, because this is just crazy slow right now. No, I don't see anything. Tomorrow pre-market, there's a non-farm payroll report, which tends to be a little bit of a market mover. So we may see some early momentum tomorrow. But right now, all the momentum is gone. So if you're going to continue trading today, I think the thing to do is to be on the lookout for this retest. If you choose to try to short the market back here to the, looks like somewhere around 63.16, 63.17 area, that is a doable trade. I would probably not hang on too long, however, because the trend is up. So you're going to be better off looking for buying opportunities than selling opportunities. If you can identify a trend, you're always better staying with the trend. Even if you get a crappy entry, you'll probably do better than trying to do a counter trend move. Oh, here's that number 2 signal. So we have had the test of the extreme. Here's the counter trend signal. The hard edge would be the target, and that brings us back here to this top end of the trading range that we were just looking at. I think everybody ended up taking an early lunch. Because this is very, very slow. All right, gang, we may just button up shop here a couple minutes early. We'll do it all over again tomorrow, and hopefully the market will be a little bit more responsive. Be careful. Like I said, it is a bull market today, so look for those buying opportunities on the pullback. A hard edge bounce would be a very doable trade. If you are long, just try to keep your stops, as far back as you can manage to avoid a premature stop out. If we're expecting a pullback to around 63, 16, 17, 18, your stop is only a loss if it gets hit. If you can keep it out of the way, then there's a good chance that you may even end up with a profit. All right. Well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow. And yeah, be careful. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.